You're listening to the Reddit files. Let's get into it. For months, I was confused why I kept finding long hairs in my house. Then I saw my neighbor coming out of my house. I'm a man in my 20s that lives alone on the very top floor of an apartment block. I've had short hair for the last 10 years of my life. The longest hair on my head is maybe an inch long, if that even. However, across my house I kept finding long hairs on the floor. Like, long brunette hairs, at least 5-6 inches. Sometimes longer. And they would be everywhere. Bathroom floor, in the shower, in my cupboard, in my kitchen, on old clothes, living room floor and sofas, etc. I've been single since November and clean often enough that I'm certain it's not my ex-girlfriend's hairs. Plus the color doesn't match anyway, she had solid black hair, these are more a light brunette. Plus, finding them in the places like the shower? Where running water is hitting all the sides 5+ times a week? Anyway, I waved it off as well. I work with a lot of people and use the gym and bus sometimes, so naturally hairs are going to stick to my clothes. Well, one day, this past April, I finished my early gym session and got the call that I didn't have to go work that day, so naturally I start to walk home all happy that I have the day to myself. I'm on the 5th floor, the uppermost floor, of the building, and the apartment is in such a way that there is only one apartment per floor. I start to hustle up the stairs and don't use the elevator since I'm sweaty from the gym anyway. Just as I whip a right to go up the last set of stairs from the 4th floor to the 5th floor, I see my neighbor's, on the 3rd floor, daughter coming down the stairs. We lock eye contact. We've never spoken before, mostly because we've never had a reason to, but also because out of respect I didn't want to make her uncomfortable since she's 19-21-ish, and I'm slightly older. The most interaction we've had is that I've spoken to her mother and father before when bumping into each other on the stairs. I gave a confused hello. At this point I'm thinking that she maybe went to knock on my door to ask for something? A cup of sugar maybe, I don't know? I was expecting her to reply with something like, "Oh hi, do you have any XYZ?" Nope. She gave a silent hey and brushed right past me. And only then, when the smell of my own shampoo hit me, did I notice her hair was wet. Like, fresh out the shower a minute ago wet. Now I'm not saying she showered in my house. Or that I have a stalker that's been living in my house while I've been at work. She very easily could have just been there to ask for something. And most generic brand shampoos smell the same. But don't the pieces all fit a bit too well? Her hair color matches the hairs I would find around my apartment. And like I said before, they were everywhere. In my bed too, in my sock drawers. And if it is a case of me having a stalker? How did she know I came home early enough to bolt out the shower in time? Our apartment doesn't have cameras, it's an older building from before 2000. And why would she be stalking me? For how long has she been doing this? We've never dated, never had a proper conversation. I maybe saw her 20 times in the past 2 years, given that I work and she, presumably, studies or works too. As all these thoughts are buzzing through my head, and I'm standing outside my door for a solid 2 minutes grappling with what just happened. I go to turn the key to my door, and it opens without me having to unlock it. And I know for a fact I always double lock my door. It's the type with a lock near waist level and a second more secure lock with a different key around shoulder level. I drop my bag, throw off my shoes and run to the shower. And yep. It's wet. I hadn't showered since yesterday morning. I'm a confrontational person, not that I go looking for fights, but I'll definitely pursue an answer if something is bugging me. So back down the stairs to the 3rd floor I went, knocked on the door of my apparent stalker and her family. She opens the door but with the chain still on. I see half of her face from behind the door. Yes? Can I help? Were you at my door or inside? I don't want to make this a police thing now, but you came down the stairs and I know you were inside? I just had to get something, it won't happen again. Okay, bye, see you. Door closed. This happened last month. I've been cleaning my house every weekend closely now and got the locks changed and put a motion sensor camera above my door. It only films and triggers on the steps coming up to my door, so the 4th apartment still have their privacy. So far so good, I don't think she's been inside since. But looking back, I think she'd been living in or going in or whatever into my apartment since January, because that's my earliest memory of finding hairs. She never took anything of value like my laptop or the few watches I have. Seemingly she just showered and ate some of my food and laid in my bed. I do now also always take the elevator and avoid the third floor like the plague. Update. Re-upload, mod said first post broke rule 6, so I've taken a bunch of details out. Hi all, update following my last post a week back about me catching neighbor coming out of my apartment having used my shower. My cousin's husband is a police officer, so I went to him directly about filing a report. He came over to my apartment first as I gave him a visual breakdown of what happened on the stairs and changes odd things I'd noticed in my apartment since January. Primarily just hairs everywhere and missing food. And how my door was unlocked that day. Though I did a thorough clean following the event on the stairs, my police friend was able to still find some hairs, and so he bagged those up. I gave him my statement in detail and some dates best I could, when I remember finding the first hair, when I first noticed food going missing, etc. Also, he advised me not to talk to the family, not even with a friend, to avoid any confusion or get lawyers involved or muddy the waters with accusations. With all that done, he left and came back 2-3 days later. He and his partner went to talk to the family on Sunday because they knew both parents would likely be home then. Long story short, she confessed to everything immediately and broke down into tears and apologized once my police friend brought up how 5 months of entering someone's house even with keys is still very much an offense, and she could easily end up with a sentence of some should I pursue it. And that sentence could very easily involve the inside of a jail cell irregardless of if she stole something or not. I don't know how true this is. It might have just been my friend and his partner pressing and exaggerating for a confession, but it worked. They talked for an hour with the parents and her all in the same room to get answers from her. Then the same day he came up to mine with his partner, and they gave me the breakdown. Answers to commonly asked questions below. How did she get in/have her own keys? The locks on our doors are the type that use a code on the lock barrel that only the manufacturer or partnered/approved locksmiths have access to. She knew this because her parents got the locks changed when they first moved in. And in fact, she used the same locksmith from all the way back then. The locksmith presumably remembered the family and apartment but just didn't pay attention to it being the 5th floor this time instead of her own 3rd floor. So he came over and took the barrel out, saw the code, went and made a set of keys and done. I was none the wiser. Both my locks on my door are different brands, but presumably they operate in the same way, so having 2 locks made no difference. What was she doing in my apartment? Anyone who said she just needed space, you were right. She has 2 younger step-siblings and her mother is a tutor, not a teacher as I presumed previously. She tutors at home, so at any given point there are always some kids around the house. She would say to her parents she was going out to study or work or a girlfriend's house and use my house as a hotel while she studied or relaxed. The reason she used mine was partly because she knew it would be empty but also because my schedule was predictable. As I work an average 9-5 like everyone else but leave the house at 6-6:30 to get gym done, to that essentially gave her the house from 6 to 5. How long? My guess was right. It started in January, once she figured I'd broken up with my GF at the time around November. My GF would stay at mine when I went to work and back sometimes, so yeah, that would have been an interesting situation if they had crossed paths. So then how did she know I was coming home early that day? And that I wasn't going to work straight after gym like usual, and so she bolted out the shower? Or on the days I didn't go gym, how did she know not to come in? Twofold. Firstly, I go to a commercial gym in my country, and so they have an app. Irregardless of if you're a member or not, one of the things the app lets you see is how many people are in each branch, so you can see how full it is. All you have to do is download it and scan the QR code at the entrance by the turnstiles to add it to the My Gyms tab. It literally shows you like branch no. 21, address, 9/50 18% full. She would refresh the app in the morning, and if it went up by 1 around 6-6:30 am and she heard me go downstairs or use the elevator, not hard when it's 6 am and the apartment is otherwise silent, then she would know the house is empty. Now for the creepiest, most messed up bit of it all. She had put an AirTag on my car. She insisted that she had only put it recently and initially just presumably gambled that I wouldn't be home sooner than expected, or maybe she just put an ear to the door, but then one thing led to another and yeah. I don't know how much I believe this. Again, this could be an attempt to not look so guilty. That day when we clashed, she refreshed the app and saw I left the gym, but then my car didn't move. She connected the dots and tried to leave ASAP. When she heard me coming up the stairs, she didn't have time to lock up, and so we met on the stairs with my door remaining closed but not locked. Extra detail, the AirTag was stuck to under my car. The using my shower? She claims she didn't do it always, just on hot days or days she couldn't at home. I can't deny or confirm this. Like I said previously, being a gym goer, I'd shower 5+ times a week, so. How did her parents never notice? Well, the dad leaves early for work, 5 a.m. is since his bus route starts around 6. The mom is up around 6-7. But since she's preparing for her own students for the day plus her own kids to send to school, she wasn't too bothered what her eldest 20-year-old daughter was doing really. She'd just say, "I'm going to the college library," or "I'm going to my girlfriend's," and that was good enough. Did she have a thing for me, like a crush? My police friend didn't really say anything about this. Presumably he never asked, since it's not as important as other details, or it never came back. It makes little difference. How's my standings with the family right now? The mom and dad both apologized to me. The mom via text and the dad in person at my door. He offered to pay for the camera I installed, as his daughter was the direct cause of it, but it was cheap off of Amazon, so I said no, it's fine. We had a 10-15 minute conversation, and he was very apologetic and explained his daughter had always been extremely quiet and well-behaved, so something like this would never have crossed his mind in a million years. He added that his daughter's never had a boyfriend, at least that he knows of, and only has a few friends, so her social interaction skills aren't necessarily top-notch, and that even when guests would come she'd hide away in the spare room. So to the few people who predicted that maybe COVID and lockdown lead to her not having good social interaction skills, you were half right. He again offered me money for my troubles like missing food, new locks, and cleaning, etc., but I felt bad enough already. I declined. He did also ask if I would press charges, and I again said no. More on that below. He said he will send his daughter to apologize to me in person too when the situation has calmed down, as she's apparently very tense and upset and hasn't left her room in days. Am I going to press charges? No. I'm still not happy about the situation, especially the ******** ing AirTag on my car, but the family is apologetic as well as the culprit herself, and honestly no one is going to gain anything from this. I would like an apology though. For anyone that cares about the extra detail, she got the AirTag as a gift a while back from her parents because she kept losing her stuff. Have I seen her since? No, she won't apparently leave her room and is terrified that I'll press charges, though presumably her family's told her I said I won't. How do I currently feel? Well, I was never especially worried or nervous, just really creeped out about the whole situation. It felt like I'd been a parasite host and somehow never noticed until then. I currently still feel a little angry, and a small part of me is thinking to seek revenge, but any revenge I seek, like money or slander, is truthfully going to impact the parents more than her. / do I feel bad for her? Truthfully? No. She's not 10. She's 20 or something and educated, so yeah, you should be remorseful, feel guilty, and scared. Get over that hump and we'll talk. Plus there are loads of spaces for young adults like public libraries and her college spaces. By no means was my house the only viable option. Finally. Did she use my bed? Or wear my clothes? Believe it or not. Yes. She did. Any advice I can give? Check your Wi-Fi devices. If I had checked that, I would have noticed her phone and laptop all the way back when. Obviously my Wi-Fi modem is in my house, and so she helped herself to that. Again, it's one of those things. How often does one check their Wi-Fi devices? Truthfully, with all my family visiting me and their devices, I probably wouldn't have noticed one extra phone amongst the existing 10+, but I 100% would have noticed the one extra laptop. So let that be a lesson to all. And yes, I have removed her devices from the list and changed my password. Thanks for watching the Reddit Files. New stories daily. Hit subscribe so you never miss one.